Welcome to Undressing Intimacy, where we cut through the bullshit
Greggy,
so we can get naked.
you can't say that.
Why not? How would you say it then?
Well, maybe more like, welcome to Undressing Intimacy, where we undress emotionally so we can undress physically.
That's exactly what I said. Not sure what the problem is. Welcome to episode number
64.
64. We're so glad that you have joined us. Hey, just a reminder, there's still time. Go sign up for our online community. We'd love to have you. And this online community is a little different. It's not one that we chat on. It's one that we meet together on.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our first session a couple weeks ago, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so come join us. Come see that you're not alone. Come meet some other couples. In January, I'll announce whatever the topic or discussion is that we'll be doing. Last time we talked about all sorts of things, but one of the things we talked about, because it was Thanksgiving, was gratitude for how the existence of your spouse just exposes where you need to grow. And it was a great discussion. So
It was very good. As usual, weeks go by and things come up that continue to shock me. This week was like no other.
yeah, this was a very interesting week for you. And you did something I don't know that I ever thought you would in your life.
Well, that's right. So I have always known that Amy is an amazing author. If you've ever been coached by her, she writes these summaries that are absolutely fantastic. And she's been told by myself and other people that she needs to write a book, but she's stubborn.
I'm not stubborn.
And
I'm
she
just
doesn't
not
listen.
ready yet.
And I even, as I usually do, kind of like when we dated, I nudged her in so much that I actually went to Gemini. It's like a chat GTP on Google AI. And I said, hey, I think Amy should write a book about this. What do you think? And it gave a little breakdown and it was like, yeah, this is a fabulous idea. But Amy still ignored me.
No, I'm waiting for the right time.
Okay. So Amy's waiting for the right time.
I have to wait till the inspiration hits me. I appreciate your validation that you think I'm a great writer, that you think I should write a book, but until I feel it in my bones, I don't think that creative process will happen for me.
Now, me, on the other hand, writing has been my nemesis from a very young age.
Especially given your dyslexia or your difficulty with letters and just.
Yeah, I think I might have some. I've never been diagnosed, but just the problems I have with spelling, a little bit with reading, focusing on that. There's got to be something going on there that makes it a little more difficult. And in fact, it took me 10 years to graduate from college because I decided to go to college when I had 4 kids, which was a crazy idea.
It was crazy.
And to go to University of Phoenix, which at the time was online and in person. I think mostly online these days. But the one thing about University of Phoenix, which no one told me this before I signed up, was almost every class, even my computer science class, because I got an IT degree, the core of the class required writing.
A lot of writing.
A lot of it.
And you thought I was going to write your papers for you.
No, I never thought that. I never thought that. I was very grateful that you edited them. But man, it was a beast. And I barely survived.
You did well, babe.
But I did. I finished.
And I thought, if between the two of us, I thought if anyone started a business, it was going to be you.
Right.
You're the entrepreneur. You're the one that was always coming up with business ideas and that was always like, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do this. Your dad was a bit of an entrepreneur, so you kind of had that blood in you. I never, ever saw myself opening up any sort of business. But when the time was right and when I got certified and started doing, you were like, go girl, go get it, go open this business. And we did it together, but it was primarily me at the first.
Yep, businesswoman for sure.
And so in the true swap this week, tell them what you did, Greg.
Yeah, so if you're following along here, you might be guessing what comes up next. But I thought, I don't know. To be honest with you, there was a large dose of Eros one night. We had some fantastic time together. And I woke up the next morning just a fire. And that's when you kind of know that it's real, true Eros energy, that the desire was between the two of you, because it's that life giving energy. And I just felt like I was on cloud nine. I could attack and do anything that day.
Conquer the world.
I could conquer the world.
Even your biggest dislike.
And in my craziness state, that's Amy put me in. It's all her fault. I had
You're
this
welcome.
thought like, okay, Amy needs to write this book. I need to write a companion book to it. And I pretty much know what I want to write about. So let's see what Gemini thinks about this. And so I went to Gemini and I said, hey, you know, I talked to you a few months ago. It's kind of weird. We talked to AI, but we do. I talked to you a few months ago about Amy writing a book, and you thought it was a fantastic idea, which it always does, because it's going to always be a fantastic idea, because it's only there to make you feel good, by the way. So
yeah, ChatGPT loves every idea you
if you put an idea in there and it comes back as fantastic, you might want to check with someone else. But you always will. And I think I have an idea that I should write a companion book on a certain topic, and I put that in there, and it said, yeah, I think it's a good idea, which wasn't shocking. And I said, well, let's come up with a structure. I wonder what that looked like, because I kind of done without Amy. And sure as shit, it did. And it was fantastic. Like, the structure was amazing. And I don't know when this has happened, because it wasn't there before. But it's really cool, because the AI was like, here's a structure. What do you think? And I'm like, let's move some things around. But yeah, this is really good. And so they're like, let's go get started. We're going to start on chapter 2, because it's critical. Like, why would you start on chapter 2? Like, well, try it. I did. I wrote chapter 2, and it was fantastic. I'm like, man, let's try this again. I wrote chapter 1, and it was just as fantastic. Now, by this time, I had stopped believing ChatGPT or Gemini. I stopped believing AI, and I actually went to Amy, which, if anyone knows Amy, let me put it this way. In my old office in the last house, I had this huge bookshelf behind my computer full of books, and everyone at work thought I was a genius because I had read all these books. And every once in a while I let the secret out that those were all Amy's books and not mine. And Amy devours them.
Yes, I do.
From a very early age, you love to read.
Yeah,
And
I
you
would
could not get
pedal
enough.
myself to the library with my little bike and my little basket in the front and pile in the books, and then pedal back a few days later and switch them out for some more. And it was a couple miles away in LA.
Yeah, no, today it would never happen. But
I know. And I was like 8, 9, 10, and no one else went to the library with me. I went alone, and I just loved it. And I would read, and I kind of ruined my eyes reading at night in the dark. So I actually had to get glasses, but worth it. And then we got LASIK, so that fixed it. But anyways, yeah, I just loved to engage with the knowledge. I just love to have my mind opened.
And really, I think this has been one of the greatest blessings in our family, to be honest with you. She has read to our kids from a very young age, and they picked up that bug. I never thought I'd have to get mad at my kids for having a book at the table. I'd have to yell at them to put the book away. They were reading college lexicon age, 8, 9?
They were good readers.
And they just ended up devouring books. All of them. They all love to read. And I attribute their ability to do well at school because of this very thing. Because I was able to watch them be able to read and comprehend and then answer questions, and it made it so easy to take tests. And that's what high school is all about. College really is being able to comprehend, reading comprehension, and passing tests. I kind of hated them all for it a little bit.
Sorry, babe. I read to you too.
That's all your fault. In fact, when we first got married, we didn't have a TV because we couldn't afford it.
No, we didn't have a TV or cable or anything for a long time.
We got an old TV that would kind of work, but you had to pound on top of it to get it to work.
You had to kick the floor.
Fortunately, the lady beneath us on the first part was deaf.
Yeah, that was nice.
There was probably multiple reasons that was good, because we were newlyweds,
Yeah.
and we might have made a little noise. And so, yeah, we didn't have a TV or anything. So I read more books in the first year of marriage than I did my whole time
life previous before. Yeah. I don't think you'd ever actually read a book all the way through.
I know you'd say that. Like you love that badge of honor. I had read several books all the way through. Now, I will tell the story, and this is where you probably get this fault.
Okay.
I had read several books all the way through, for sure.
Picture books?
Oh my gosh, that is so
I'm
mean.
teasing, babe.
That is like cruel.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know how I can recover from that. I feel like that hurts on the inside, like in here. I'm pointing to my heart for those who can't see. She gets that story because when I was in middle school, I was put into a reading class and I despised reading as I always had. Well, the program at that time, you had to go read a book and then you go up in front of the class to the teacher and you would tell them all about this book. And then you get credit for the number of pages you read. And that's how you got graded in that class. I thought, this is never going to work. So I went and picked up a book and I read the front cover. And I went on the book of that same book and I read the back cover. I'm like, man, I think I kind of know what this is about. And I go in front of the teacher and she, oh, great. Glad you read that book. My mom was pissed when she found out.
You didn't just
When
do
I was
this
30
once.
years old, she was
You did
pissed.
this like
No,
for
I did it for
multiple books.
I did it for the whole class. And the reasons I think she was really pissed is that I got such a good grade in that class. I was such a proficient reader that they didn't have enough room in the reading class for the next semester. So I didn't have to take reading the next semester because I had read so many pages, like
Read.
4. maybe 8 pages total for the whole semester. So I should have got a degree in BS. I did get a BS. I got a bullshit degree.
Yes.
I
I think
what
what that demonstrated was your gift of gab and your gift of filling in the blanks.
Yeah. Making things up. That's a nice way of saying it. She's trying to make up for the time that she taught me I could only read picture books. So mean. But anyway, I read more books in that first year of marriage. And I got to a place where I did like to read books, but it's been really hard lately. I'm not sure why. Maybe at my old age. Anyway, saying all that, the thought of me writing a book is just crazy.
Shocking.
It's absolute crazy. And I guess I haven't written a book yet because I finished all 10 chapters and AI told me that I was too short, that I only had a manifesto.
Which I actually think is kind of a cool name. And when you think about, I don't know if you want me to reveal what the title will be about.
Sure.
When you talk about a manifesto on male sexuality,
Yeah.
I actually think that's pretty cool.
Maybe I don't have to write the whole book.
Maybe not. Maybe you go with the genius that's there and call it a manifesto.
I don't know if this book will ever be published. Although the other night I asked Amy where we should start my book tour, and she patted me like a little kid. I will show you on the film. She patted me like this. Didn't say a word. Like, oh, you little child. And
I did not say a word.
I know she didn't say a word. But I'm telling her what that. Those people that can't see the pat, I'm explaining that pat. She patted me like,
the
oh,
pat
you little
was
kid.
one of adoration.
Oh, you little kid. It was no adoration in there.
No, it wasn't. Oh, you little kid.
Oh,
it was
silly little boy.
There's my dreamer.
There's my little silly little boy.
No, there's my dreamer. You are a dreamer, and it's good. I mean, because of your dreams, we've actually stretched and done a lot of things that I probably never would have even put in the line of sight. And so it was like, oh, there's my dreamer.
So
that
was a very long journey to tell you that Amy is very good at reading books and she's read tons of them. So unlike Gemini, I say that. I think she would tell me if my book sucked. My manifesto sucked. I thought it was pretty damn good. And I had to read her the first few chapters myself.
No,
I barely got through them.
It was powerful, actually.
There were some tears shed, and she's like, that is so good. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And so I'd write the next chapter, and I would print it out and bring it to bed, and she would read it. She's, oh my gosh, that is so good. She hasn't read the last 2 chapters, so they might suck, but I don't know yet.
You wrote them secretly yesterday, so
I wrote them in secret.
I'm looking very forward to them.
So I written all 10 chapters, and I'm trying to get out of the manifesto stage to the book stage sometime. But the incredible part about that, there were some major ahas as I wrote this book. In fact, I texted Amy like, you got to come here. I got to come here. This is a major aha that I've been stuck on for a very long time. And I think I was able to flesh it out. And I think today we want to spend some time talking about this.
Yeah, because I think you're not the only one stuck there.
Right. And this chapter was around how we get to stage 3. And when we talk about stage 3, do you want to talk about the 3 stages a little bit and set the stage, Amy, for us?
The 3 stages, they're describing adult development and also sexual development. And the first stage is a very egocentric, right or wrong, black and white, binary, selfish stage that all of us start in. The second stage is a social stage, and it's about roles and rules and others' expectations. And it's about learning how to be in a group, but then it's also usually where we start adopting patterns like earning or perfectionism or seeking approval or people pleasing. And again, it's a necessary part of development. But the third stage is a self-authoring stage where you've taken everything you've learned about right and wrong, about social groups, about belonging to yourself and belonging to others, and you learn to self-author. Another way to say that is you learn to choose and to be in a way that aligns with your integrity. And that integrity also allows you to collaborate with others. And so in a marriage, being in stage 3 means that you're able to hold the paradox of belonging to yourself and belonging to your spouse. Another way to say that is you're able to hold the dissonance of autonomy and attachment. And it is a difficult dissonance to hold, but both of them are actually necessary in order for a marriage to thrive.
Actually, it's the reason why it thrives is because we talked about with Jennifer is that's where creation happens, right?
Right,
It's the
right.
creative process that brings eros and it brings desire and makes great sex. And so as a man, it was really hard. I was easily able to, the concept of I don't want to be in stage 2. I probably bucked the system a long time ago, way before you. And that's always been easy for me. Just bucking the system isn't going to stage 3
No, rebellion is still
because
stage
it's still
2.
stage 2. And so I was really good at that. So I could get that part down. The part that I've always struggled with was how do I understand what my own integrity believes is important? And then when I began to grasp that, I was able to see how that was and what it meant. But then I've been gripping and grappling over this part. Oftentimes, when I looked at my own desire and I really thought about what I really wanted and was important to me, it had the dissonance of butting up against some of the things that were uncomfortable for Amy. And I really couldn't get my arms wrapped around this. I asked Jennifer a question in our last podcast and she answered it in a good way, but she didn't get into this part of it. I asked her about how we have this eros energy and how it doesn't impact our spouse if this is something that we desire. And she really answered it well, saying that eros doesn't live in darkness, right? That if we're hiding something, it is because we're trying to escape. We're not trying to actually have this living power of eros. And I thought it was a great answer. It's really been helpful to me because I've always been asking myself now, if I have this great fantasy or desire sexually, is it living in the dark? Is it something that's helping me go somewhere to buffer against the things I don't want to do? Or is it something that's really eros-driven, life-giving, life-forming as in the light? And so it's been fabulous to have that answer from Jennifer. If you listen to that podcast, use that. It's amazing.
It was really eye-opening to have her say eros only produces life.
Yep.
So yes, sexuality is a part of us, but the eros part of sexuality is life-giving. And if you are interacting, engaging with some part of your sexuality that isn't bringing goodness and life and vibrancy either to you or your couplehood, then it probably isn't eros.
It's probably indulgent. Mm-hmm. She said the red light district has plenty of sex, but zero eros. And that was like, okay, I totally get that. But as I wrote this manifesto and as I came across the chapter that we talked about as these 3 stages, and I got to trying to give you some real examples or give myself some real examples, because I don't know if I'll ever publish this, but maybe I will. Some real examples of practical ways that we can do this. I really went deep to say, how do I understand what my true desires are, but also live in this paradox of being married to Amy and being whole, but understanding the impact that I may be able to have, not giving up on what I want or dismissing what I want, but being able to integrate what I want into our relationship. I have tons of male clients that they get to the point they're like, why are the ones that we always have to give up? And we talk about the client that says, I have a Ferrari. Why do I have to give my Ferrari up for her minivan? Just because she's scared to be, to be adventurous in sexuality. We talk about it over and over again. And we really get stuck on that. We really feel like we're giving something up. And as I did this, I really came across this concept called the integrity checklist. And the concept is you take the 3 most important things that are important to you on your sexual desires in this checklist, 2 of them being your core values of what you believe sexuality is for you, and then 1 of them being something that's important to your spouse. So here you are, you're whole in yourself, but you're inviting the other one to have impact on you so that you can check through this checklist. So mine kind of went something like this. My first core value is that I love and desire the openness and freedom of sexuality, being able to explore and understand through our sexuality. Number 2 is I love the ability to be close and honest with Amy. And where my sexuality thrives and feels the best is when I can share that with her, no matter what her response may be. So the desire of honesty. And then here's the kicker. I had a third one. And this is one that I honor Amy's emotional safety. And that's important to me. And the cool part about this is when you have a fantasy or a desire, a sexual desire, you can go through this checklist to say, hey, does this meet my own integrity? I now had a real way of saying, am I living in a way that's up to my own standards, my own integrity, not what anyone else says, not even what Amy says, what I truly believe. And so I can ask the question, hey, I have this sexual desire. One, does it meet the core value of bringing joy and excitement because I love that? 2, am I able to openly and honestly share this desire with Amy? And then 3, in any way, does this desire make Amy emotionally afraid or insecure? Now, what I want to say is that there's probably been things in our marriage that made Amy feel that way that she doesn't feel that way about anymore. And so I don't think I dismiss these things on the outright when I say that. It makes me aware of where Amy is. And then the second part of the tooling that I came across was how to invite off of that checklist and make the invitation. And I spent a lot of time talking about the importance of invitation and inviting. When we demand that our sexual fantasies be played out, that we demand that our needs be met, whether it's frequency or positions or whatever part of the sexual fantasy that we have, Eros is not there. It's not desire between the two of us. It's not intimacy. And so in that way, we can also invite. And it gave a specific example in this manifesto of how to invite. And it went something like this. Hey, Amy, I am feeling why this feeling, this desire. I understand that me having this desire might bring X emotion or insecurity to you. I would love to find a way to collaborate so that we can produce. I'm not dismissing my true sexual desire. I'm honest in inviting Amy. I'm seeing that there may be potential roadblocks for her to be able to be with me in this desire. But I'm asking her to collaborate with me. And as most things here, I'll be truly, brutally honest. I never bring them to you until I try them first. Or we're taught them, like when Tammy taught us about tantric, and then I go mess them all up and tell you how terrible I am at it. And we go from there.
Either way, it's still learning.
Either way, I would never ask you guys to do anything that I haven't tried to see if this theory produces anything. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy to ask her if this theory produces anything.
Yes.
Did you elaborate beyond yes?
Yes, I can. And I think other than the word produce, I only am picking on that word just because for a lot of women, invitations, initiations into sexuality are like the work of producing.
What word would you use instead of produces this emotion? What would you use?
I would say, what does this create?
Create what emotion does it create, or what?
I think
Probably should look up what I really said, huh? Go ahead. I'll look it up while you're.
I felt your honesty, your willingness to see from my side as well. It wasn't just, hey, I want this, I'm entitled to it. It wasn't a demand at all. it was also very vulnerable. And also, it wasn't, even though you had a desire, the desire wasn't like,
Find out with an outcome.
yes, it wasn't like, do this thing. It was like, I want to enjoy X, I'm trying to be specific without being too specific.
Well, let me be a little more specific, and I think it will get embarrassing at all to do this. You can use it in the terms of spontaneous and responsive without getting into specifics that Amy doesn't want to share. And I don't want to share either. But like I can say, hey, I understand we understand that, the spontaneous desire comes and is just there, and that responsive desire takes a place to be. You can kind of say it in those terms, engineering, like, hey, I feel my spontaneous desire saying right now, I really want to be with you. And if I let my spontaneous desire go, I would be jumping your bones right now. Right? But I understand me even saying that creates some dissonance in you, and knowing that you need to get to yourself in that place because your responsive desire, I understand that, and I'm inviting to hold you for the next 10 minutes and just be close and see what happens and be really okay with whatever comes of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interesting enough, I looked it up, and you know what word I actually used in my manifesto?
What is it?
Create.
Oh,
Just like
there
you said.
go.
So I'll read it from that. I said, I want X, my desire, but I also recognize this might create Y feeling in you, the potential impact. How would you feel about co-creating Z, the invitation?
So co-creating could be an open space, some time for us to connect, a feeling or a situation or an engagement, an interaction that would engender connection. And so it's really wide open. And I think that's when our collaboration really starts. Because often, I mean, I see this in literally every couple. There will be the passion in one and the pace in the other. You'll have the spontaneous in one and the responsive in the other. You'll have just the differences of, you'll have one who can see a whole script and one who can't imagine anything at all, or like lots of fantasies and then what they would consider no fantasies. And that's totally actually normal. And it's really taking the difference of those two. I'll use, say, maybe passion and pacing, and seeing what you can actually create, how you can pace that passion and create a space that's enjoyable for both.
Right. Here, I'll get a little more specific too, and then Amy can slap me if I get too specific. So, as usual, I'm the spontaneous one, and I desire having sex with Amy probably every day. I will be honest. I could probably go every day and have sex, and that would be just fine. I've told her 24/7, 7 days a week, if you ever want it, you better wake me up because I'm ready to go. And the other night was the same. And it's a known thing, right? And even especially now that we do some of the simmering in the morning, we've kept it at a level where we're simmering. And so it's not so hard to get over that top. And with that, it's even more obvious and evident that's there. And so I said, Amy, I see that I really want to make love to you tonight. But I also see that you may not be there. Here's an idea. How about we co-create? I have this idea that we might be able to find a tantric, self-paced guide that might walk us through some things that we've never tried before, and we might be able to do. What do you think about that? Yeah, that sounds all right. So we found one and we turned it on, and the music almost drove us nuts.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
It was
like a
weird beating drum.
Safari, African, I don't know, very...
We almost gave up on it.
Very different.
But we didn't. Amy's like, let's try it. We'll do it. And it really positioned us in the giver-receiver mode, which it was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it walked us through 5 different ways of touch.
Mm-hmm.
And it used the different elements of the earth. Yeah, earth, water, wind,
fire,
ether. Fire and ether.
Oh, yeah.
Ether. Oh my gosh. Like it was hard for me because it was out of my comfort zone of trying something and I just wanted to get laid. Right. And so I'm like, what happens when I get aroused? And I always go back to that point, but I did, and we did. And that was fine. We enjoyed each other. We laughed.
We did.
Like uncontrollably. There's the fire energy, and there's a lot of shaking that happens during the fire energy. And she even says, this should just bring up joy and laughter. And we're like, okay, whatever. And we were laughing like we haven't laughed in a very long time.
Yeah.
And in fact, like getting to almost the last one in the middle of it, because it dings and it pauses, and my phone had paused. And so I went to go to the phone and I lost it. I'm like, Amy, I lost it. Let's just let's do something else. And she's like, no, I was just getting into it.
No, we got to finish that.
I want to finish it. So it was fantastic.
It was expansion again.
It was
right?
expansion. It was co-creation. It was different. It allowed us to be slow down and pace and touch and enjoy the things that we sometimes speed through.
Very like connecting seems like almost a overused, tired word, but it actually really was.
Yeah.
And I think it helped to pace us to just stay in that pacing, in that connecting space.
And I'll tell you another example. It's not us. And I know this individual probably listens to the podcast, so they'll know who they are. So shout out to them when they hear this one. But we coached an individual, and he was 100% certain that it was all about the toys and the positions. And he was ready to fight us to the death. No matter what. And Amy coached this individual for a while, and then she asked me to come coach with her. I think I shocked him on our first coaching.
It's probably likely. You're pretty direct.
I'm pretty direct. And so I was pretty direct, and he got pretty defensive about it. And so I think I first thought maybe I ruined this coaching for you. There goes that client. You should never bring me in. But to his credit, he stuck with it. He asked more questions. Mm-hmm. He worked on it. He messed it up. He
like
came
we
back
all do.
Complained. Yeah. He's like, you're wrong. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Like we went back and forth, but he stayed in it. He stayed in it. And the other day, Amy was coaching him. He's like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. My wife and I, we had this opportunity where we had this time for intimacy, but we decided we weren't going to go to orgasm. We were just going to enjoy the Eros energy and be with each other. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I was on fire all day.
And the next.
And how amazingly wonderful it was. And it's those moments when you hear it from other people, because you can think about it yourself, but it just shows that's the truth. Like when you get and you invite, I have another client, and he had been stuck, as we all are, us men, in this, hey, this is my desire. This is what I want. Why is my wife not choosing me and giving me the thing that I want? And triple dog daring, double downing on this thing. And even just doing all he could to get the positions and the type of sex that he really wanted, because that's how he thought he was going to connect.
Which never works, by the way.
Amazing client. I have learned tons from him. And if he's listening to the podcast, he probably knows who he is too. Kudos and thank you. I told him the other day after I had messed up majorly myself, maybe I should have called you, because I needed someone to talk to about my F up, and we can collaborate together. That's the kind of client he is. But he also told a story about how he too finally saw how he was being so demanding and what that was doing to his wife. This really came through the emotional sharing exercise. When they started emotional sharing with each other and being honest and true, because at first they lied still.
I think it was more hiding.
Okay, call it what you want.
Omission, not like blatant lying.
Whatever.
It's,
That's still lying.
It's a form of hiding. Yeah.
I did it for 17 years plus. Sometimes I still want to do it. So call it what it is. But once they got to the real open honesty about it, I had no idea. I had no idea all the things my wife was thinking and the emotions she was having through the day, what that caused. I had no idea what these demands that I kept having sexually on her was really doing to her and her emotions until she could be honest with them. And he got to such a point he was so nervous to do anything. So nervous to do anything. And one time when he had just invited to be close and not have any sexual expectations, And she goes, I don't want to stop. He almost messed up. It's in my manifesto too. If you read that part, I use it as an example. So thank you for that. But he was almost like, I can't do that because I'm so concerned that I will go against the thing that I promised to do and not push her or set an expectation. And I don't know which head he finally came to realization with, the right or the wrong one. They're like, duh. She's at, that's why I find it. I said, duh. She's inviting. And luckily enough, he didn't totally blow it. And they just had a fabulous, amazing time. Things that he thought he'd never do with her were done. And just to hear what happens when we finally surrender to that thought of fantasy and we understand that building our own fantasies doesn't bring the desired outcome that we really want of being chosen. It's co-creation that does. And know how many crazy things you can think are positions or
Not the
whatever it was.
positions, it's not the toys, it's
Yeah.
not the lingerie, it's not the movies or whatever some people suggest. It's not the touch this circle 10 times during that. No, it's not that.
Those are all good things and can help.
Right, but
when
that's
you
not the
emotionally clinch, but
core
it's
of
not the
what
core of it.
is so replenishing and life-giving.
And you want to hear another mean thing that Amy said to me that hurt me on the inside?
What?
She was reading my manifesto and it had a line about that's not what great sex was. And she's like, really? I can't believe it. You wrote it down. Really? Is that what really it's about? And she mocked me.
I didn't.
So I have hurt feelings like from just a moment ago and from later. So you got a lot of work to get rid of those hurt feelings.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I wrote in my manifesto that's great sex doesn't come from those guys.
I think from the women's side, a lot of the female partners that I've been coaching a lot, have taken on this idea that they have to produce, they have to work, that they have to manage their husband. We've talked about that a lot, right? Like servicing duty, obligation. And what they have a difficult time believing is that their presence is satisfying, that there is no work to do, that there is just enjoying, surrendering, being present, following enjoyment. And they are like, is he really going to be okay? Does he really like this? Is it really fulfilling? Are they lying to me? And they're not lying.
They're like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
It's very enjoyable to be together, and it doesn't have to have a climatic outcome in order for it to be very erotic, replenishing, and joyful. Fine if it doesn't, like once you open that up, there's just so much more space and room for eroticism, for joy, for connection to breathe and live and be cultivated.
Absolutely. I think our job as men is to, one, get rid of those expectations of the outcomes we want and be able to co-create. But two, I think it's really important because Emmy mentioned it again, and I want to mention this very clearly because we talk about the word surrendering, and it's not in a weakness. We talked about how it's not a weakness. But for females, it can sound very, very scary because they are literally opening themselves up to be entered into. And the consequences of sex for them is way higher than the consequences for sex with us. So the vulnerability and just the act of sex for women is just way more. And so when we mention surrendering, I think the important thing for the men is being worth being surrendered to. You got to be the right kind of man, and you got to be in the right kind of place that the safety of your wife is willing to surrender to you. We talked about that with Dr. Snyder, right? Because he mentioned it too. It scared me a little bit because when he mentioned that, you're worried like most women are going to go surrender. That's dangerous. Why would I do that? But he just, in a very blip of a sentence on the back of it, and this just reminds me, I need to add this to my manifesto.
That would be a good addition.
I need a section on being worth to be surrendering to. And that's really what Jennifer Finlayson-Fife was teaching us in the course I took from her. She wanted to name it How to Be Lovable, and she thought that was too cruel, so she didn't do that. But in the end, that's probably more like, how do we make ourselves worth surrendering to? Because that's where the great eroticism and major wonderful sex comes to, is when there can be someone that wants to consume someone and the other person wants to just give and surrender to. It takes that form. Let me give you another specific that might be helpful. And Amy can slap me if I get too specific here. Did I do okay last time?
Yeah.
No need. Okay. I think I'll do okay this time. I have been going through this thought process, and this is the thought process that got me in major trouble a couple of weeks ago, like major trouble. I talk about it in my manifesto about I felt things I hadn't felt in years when I had a conversation with Amy. But I've been trying to think about sometimes it's tiring being the one that always has to have the good fantasies and ideas and sparks and stories and everything that get us all fired up in bed. It's just tiring. Like, can't I just enjoy it too? Like, it feels like a work sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And so I was trying to find ways that we could help in that area. And we tried some that didn't help in that area. And we've tried others that have. And we tried one that didn't and did. So I'm going to share that one. It was both. I found this app called Melt Stories, meltstories.com. And what it is an AI app that you can put you and your spouse, and you can explain your physical features and your characteristics and your passionate features. And then you can put some scenarios around where you want the story to take place and what kind of things you want to happen. And when Amy does it, it's like she wants to hold hands for 12 hours of the story.
Stop.
And then maybe a hug for another 10 hours in the story, and then maybe kiss. I'm like, let's have 25 orgasms and, go crazy. So that's the problem with it. You can set it to do dangerous things, I think. And so you have to be wise with how you use it. But when you're wise with how you use it and you share it in a fashion, it was another way of saying, hey, I know that potentially right now might be a difficult time to connect sexually. How about we use this app to tell us little pieces of story, and then we'll decide if we want to act those out or role play on it.
Yeah. So a lot of couples, a lot of women are context driven.
Yes.
To be able to access arousal or desire. And so stories are often a really good avenue to not only remove
the barrier,
but also to mind from like the day-to-day context and kids and tasks and all that kind of stuff, and start to pull out those more physical, sexual, erotic elements and draw them out.
Yeah.
And stories context are a really great way to do that. But obviously a lot of people either are like, I'm not a writer, I don't know how to do that, or it would be too hard. So this is like a tool to help create whatever type of level or like whatever you're comfortable with. You choose that, and you can write a story about yourselves, and you can put in prompts for maybe things that actually happen, but now you're like giving it a little twist, or that it could happen, or like common parts of your day where you take an ordinary part of your day, but then you give it a little twist.
Yeah.
And so it allows you to access another avenue to create context.
Amy has done something fantastic. She was so almost, what's the word I want to use?
I don't know.
Lost doesn't sound right, but it was to a point when it came to fantasies, it was like so foreign to her. She just could not even wrap her arms around any concept of why they existed or why you would even want to use them in any sort of way in a couple. And I unbelievably watched her dive in to the study of fantasies. And I know we've talked about this because we have several podcasts, which, by the way, are some of our top listened ones.
Yeah, people. I don't think I'm the only one who was confused.
No, you're
about
not
fantasy.
The only one. And she really dove into it. And as she dove into it, she studied it and understood what it was and why she still doesn't have. I don't have the capability of write really, and she doesn't really have the capability of coming up with a story out of whole cloth, like nothing there to do it, just to making it up as a fantasy. It's like she can't tell me a story of this is my fantasy. She's come up with some core concepts of what really turned her on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what those core concepts are. Mm-hmm. Now I have to wield them carefully because I can misuse them, right? But that's the cool thing about this app is I can put some of those core concepts in this app and it'll produce a story around these core concepts. And remember, these fantasies are not things that we really want to play out usually in real life. Like we'd never even touch them. But they do this dichotomy of helping us take something that may be we struggle with or we're worried about, and they have a problem and the mind has a solution to it too. And so it's been really cool in this little app to be able to play with some of those and to have a story. And by the way, it's not a story written about Bob and Bill. It's a story written about Amy and Greg.
Yeah.
And you're able to give enough context about who you are, even physical appearances, that it feels really real when it tells a story, right? Because it's talking about you too. And so here's another example I wanted to give you of the way that I decided, and I did it so wrong the first time. I did it wrong without the app. I was trying things to be able to explore this new desire for me of not having to make up all the stories. And I can't tell you how bad I blew it. Like I said in my manifesto, I felt things I hadn't felt in years. And I felt like I was in the bottom of the pit that I had just gotten put back from the very beginning. And it was quite awful. Now, a little drama queen because it ended up not being that awful. And we worked through it. But I messed it up that bad. And then when I found this app, and I didn't hide it from Amy, so don't go hide it and don't go start writing your fantasy stories, guys, and reading them and not sharing them, because that's what we talked about before. That is not Eros. That is using sexuality to be able to buffer or avoid or indulge. That's what that is.
Escape.
But when I was able to do it the first time, and then it didn't really work out, and then I was able to go, okay, let's try to use more of what we know about each other, and let me help write this thing, and then it really worked. And then again, when we did this little, hey, short little, because you can tell it to write a big old long chapter, and then write an next long chapter, and you can tell it, hey, don't resolve it this chapter because I want another one, or resolve it this chapter and be done with it. Or you can tell it to write you just a tiny little piece. So we tried using this tiny little piece, and can we use that to help prompt us on how we engage each other? Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
It works. It works. Something that I've been working on with Amy for years, and it got more pleasurable doing this than it ever had before. I think I should probably ask you if that's the case.
I would agree.
Okay, she agrees. And she's not even blushing. Can you believe that? Who is this woman sitting next to me? It still shocks me. So whether we get this manifesto or book published or not someday, I think there's tons of great concepts in there that really helped me. I think it is a topic that is not out there for men.
No. You support our men.
It's strange in some ways because we talk about how the study of sex has been male focused in male's sexual response. But as much as we ignored the female in the physical sexual response, I think we have ignored the male in the emotional.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that.
Just as much. There's nothing out there. We have Come As You Are. Great book for women to help them understand. There's tons of books out there that help women understand their sexuality. And there's ones that talk about male's physical sexuality. But I have never seen one that really helps us understand the emotional side. And I start the book or the manifesto as a child and talk about where all this stuff, this baggage came from. And that was the really powerful part about it for me. I have a feeling there's a lot of men that would relate to that.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you think I should publish this manifesto or book, put a comment in the comments or send us an email, give us a thumbs up, let us know. I'll keep working on it because it's bringing a lot of great ideas to me. But we really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. And again, I go back and say, I would never have had this opportunity if we hadn't been able to get to this place where we're able to work with these clients and to do this coaching. What a great blessing it is to be able to do it. And recording this podcast is just a ginormous blessing.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing. So we appreciate everyone that listens. And if you go like and you subscribe, that helps boost that and more people get to listen. There's a lot. As many people as download this podcast every week, there's a lot more that need it. And we want to make a business out of this and we want to be able to support our family. But more importantly, there's a lot of couples out there that could use the messages that we have and some of the things that we've learned by the hard way to get them out of some very tough situations. So please share it with all your friends and family, but like and subscribe too. That will help.
We really appreciate that.
All right, go sign up for that community.
Please come and join us.
And
now.
I know that's demanding. Invite. Let me use my invite. I understand that having you sign up for the community might bring some feelings of anxiety because you want to share with other people. And so I would like to co-create and have you come to this community.
We'd like to help co-create in your marriage.
Yes.
Help you see that you're not alone.
Yes. There is a consult button. Go push that up there and get ready because we have our good friends that have been on this very podcast that have helped us build this business, doing some work for us. So our website's going to get updated here in a little bit.
I'm excited
We're
about
excited
that.
about that too. So
Lots of good things coming. We're working on a lot of ideas.
we are. So thank you so much. Again, we're glad we're here. And until next time,
Keep undressing your intimacy.
bye-bye.